Hi, welcome to the Passionate Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. There's a Ravelry group for the podcast. Please come over, join. Thank you so much for being here. And also, this is episode 137. I totally didn't say that. Yeah, no idea where that went. I have lots of things to talk about today. And naturally, because, I didn't podcast in over 2 weeks, but first, I just couldn't find the time, and then I didn't feel like it because I just felt very bad, and I didn't want to podcast in that state. So I'm back now, and I have 2 finished sweaters to show off. So let's get started. The first thing I'm wearing today is the Window to My Soul cardigan. It's a pattern by Joji Locatelli, and I'm going to show you the pattern. I used yarn from my friend Barbara from Almrauschwolle. So this is the pattern, Window to My Soul by Joji Locatelli. And this is the leftover yarn that I have. It's just 2 little tiny bits. And it is a normal sock yarn. It's hand dyed by my friend Barbara from Almrauschwolle. And I'm going to stand up to show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like. It has a peplum, so this is way wider than the rest. And I really like how it turned out. It was interesting and then boring to knit because this part here with the lace was really interesting and I really enjoyed that. And the rest was stockinette over a bajillion stitches because for a peplum, you increase. So that took forever. And because it's a cardigan, there was a lot of purling involved, and I realized that purling too much hurts my wrists. So this took me a while. Apart from that, what can I tell you about it? I used a US4 that is a 3.5 millimeter needle to knit this, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's a nice short cardigan. I realized it's a bit light for me. I do look a bit dead in it, but I can work around that somehow. But yeah, I really like it. I think it turned out really nice. The buttons I had in my stash, I bought them at the flea market for €1. I remember that. And yeah, I'm just very happy with it. Yarn from stash, buttons from stash, patterns been in my collection forever. So yay, 3 things used that I've had already. Now let's take this off so I can wear the other thing. I also finished another sweater, so I decided to wear the one that looked better on, I think, for the podcast, and this one. This is the Sun Tea by Laura Ayler. And yeah, I have to change because I don't know how to edit and I don't want to learn. And you should know that. So here, next thing. This is the Sun Tea by Laura Ayler. I used yarn that I got sent to review. The yarn was from a Good Yarn Sarasota. That is a yarn shop somewhere in Florida. And I got the yarn sent for review. And I have a tiny bit left of one yarn and a bit more of the other. Now I have everything. I used my own project bag that I made. So first, the pattern. The pattern is, like I said, by Laura Ayler. It is called Sun Tea, like the drink tea, Sun Tea. And it's supposed to look like this, with just 2 colors. One for the top, one for the bottom. Now, I got sent 2 skeins of this yarn. And I'm going to show you the label. It is a Good Yarn Sarasota. The base is called Boca Chica. It's a fingering weight, 100% superwash merino. And I have mixed feelings about this yarn. I really enjoy the feel of it. It feels great, but it is a cable plied yarn. So this is the leftover of the gray charcoaly dark color, and this is the leftover of the other color. And as you can see, it is a cable ply, and that means it is a 4-ply made out of 4 2-plies. And so this is the structure of the yarn. And this is very splitty when knitting, which is not my favorite thing. And that is the problem I have with this yarn. It feels great. It washed really well. It didn't bleed at all. It feels amazing, but it splits like crazy when knitting. So you have to really be careful and check all the time. I had to go back and check and repair half stitches all the time. And that's the problem I have. But I'm going to show you the finished thing because I really, really like how this turned out. So here's my finished top. It is the Sun Tea by Laura Ayler. It's, you knit this sideways and then you knit top down. And I didn't have enough of this. So I striped that one in to, you know, make it longer. And I decided on a 17:3 ratio because an uneven number is always more pleasing to the eye. So if you do something like buttons, let's say you knit a cardigan and you have the option to put on 8 or 9 buttons, always go for 9 because uneven numbers are just more pleasing to the eye. So yeah, I decided to do 17:3, and then I had the task of knitting the hem, and the pattern calls for a double hem, and I thought about doing that, and I knew that I would use this for the hem. And then I had my weekend and I talked to my girls there and I said, you know, I really don't know what to do. And Allegra actually suggested to knit the hem sideways so it would match the top, and that is what I did. Thanks for the tip, Allegra. It took forever, just so you know, but it does look great in the end. So here's my knit on hem that I did, and I did that. So you have this very visible knit stitch here within the garter. And I made that because I have that exact same thing at the top so it would match again. And to make sure I had enough yarn, I just did the binding off, knitting on over 10 stitches of the sweater. And I measured, or I weighed the yarn before that and after that. And then I did some math and I calculated that I had more than enough. And yeah, it worked out wonderfully. I think it looks amazing. I love the fit of it. You know, it is a bit oversized, as you can see. And I really think that is very flattering. I love how this turned out. So yeah, Sun Tea by Laura Ayler, out of yarn that I got sent for review. Thank you again for sending this to me. I still think this might be my last yarn for review thing because I just, you know, the problem for me is when I get sent stuff for review, of course I have to knit it right away because everything else just doesn't make sense. But then it becomes a chore because I have to, and I don't like that. So I'm not sure what to do. But yeah, I used it up. I love how it turned out. I really like the result. This was so much fun to knit. I maybe even do another one and do it the exact same way because I really like how this looks in the end. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. So knitting in the present, I have 2 active things on the needles, and both of those are older whips. Because I'm kind of on a finishing kick. You know, I haven't started anything new in forever. And the window to my soul I started months ago. The Sun Tea I started months ago. And the next 2 things as well. So let's get started. First off, in the weirdest project bag ever, I have the Marled Magic Sweater by Stephen West. That's I think the newest thing that I have on my needles. This is the pattern. And here is a good picture of the sweater. So this is what I'm knitting. The Marled Magic Sweater by Stephen West. And I have decided to tone it down a bit by using a natural or white yarn throughout. So I have this natural creamy drops alpaca yarn. And I also bought 4 skeins of Lana Grossa Silk Hair, which is a merino, a mohair and silk yarn. And for later, for the cuffs of the whole thing, I have this yarn, which is a very fluffy alpaca yarn from Australia. So I'm going to use that for the cuffs. Good. Now, I have done almost finished 2 sections. I finished section 1 and I'm almost done with section 2. So this mesh is section 1, and I use the alpaca, the drops alpaca, and glittery leftovers. And then this is section number 2, and I am holding mohair yarn with smaller leftovers, and I'm doing the weaving in as you go technique that I learned from Stephen West in his class at Woolen. So yeah, that marker is for the halfway point, and I'm almost done. And then the next section can start. I'm really happy with it. I think my idea of using a creamy or white yarn throughout was a good idea, because it will still be really colorful, but not as boom, which doesn't suit me, I think. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. It's a lot of fun to knit. But to be fair, section 2 is, it's taking a long time. So that is that. I'm knitting that on 5mm needles. That's US 8. The other thing is the Hogwarts A History sweater by Megan Regan. And it is a choose your own chart sweater. So it's a colorwork yoke or a colorwork sweater, depending on what you want. And I have decided to just do the yoke with color. And where's the other thing? Here it is. And make the rest just single, solid. So this doesn't make sense. Let me show you the pattern. Where is the, there it is. This is the pattern. It's called Hogwarts A History. It's by Megan Regan. And what it is, you get different charts you can use for this one, different ones for that, different ones for that. And I decided to incorporate another pattern because I had seen someone else do it. And I really liked it. So there is a free double knit scarf pattern on Ravelry, and I have linked that in my project page for this sweater. And it has a really pretty owl in it, and I incorporated that into my sweater, which meant that I did a lot of math to make sure it would work. So here we are. This is my sweater so far. I love this. I think this is going to be amazing. So the lightning chart is given in the pattern. The owl with these snowflake starry things, they are not there. I just put them in. The owl itself is from the free scarf pattern. And the Deathly Hallows pattern is again in the Hogwarts A History pattern. So this is what it looks like. I'm now onto the solid black. The solid black body, which is, the most exciting thing ever. But I can read while I'm knitting this. So it's not too bad. And as you can see, all of my yarn glitters. And all of this is commercial yarn. So, this is going to be really nice. I'm looking forward to this. So the black yarn is this yarn here. Doesn't look like a lot. It's black yarn with a glittery stuff in it. And it is Regia Soft Glitter. It's a relatively new yarn from them. And last year, around this time, the Stitchionista and I went, or was it this year? Don't remember. So we went to the Coats outlet shop and we bought stuff, and both of us got gifted one skein of this. And she said right away that she didn't have any use for it, so I took it. And I ordered a third skein for this. So I paid like 10 euros for this one skein. And then the other yarn that I have is this orange variegated tonal whatever glitter yarn from Opal. It is Opal Royal. They used to make that for a very, very short amount of time. It's a 50-gram skein. This is the label. And I bought that at the Opal outlet shop. And I think I paid like 3 or 4 euros for this. So this whole thing, including the pattern, under 20 euros. Which shows that you don't have to pay a lot of money to make nice things. You know, you can make beautiful things with commercial yarn as well. You don't have to have hand dyed. But if you can and want to, go for it. If you can't, doesn't matter. You can make beautiful things. So yeah, I look so forward to this. Really forward to this. I also changed my colorwork technique throughout. So I did a lot of dropping and just using the other color and drop and use the other color. But I also did this section down here with the Deathly Hallows sign. I did it two-handed because there was so much changing back and forth going on that just felt like it's the right thing. And it worked out great. I didn't think you can see a difference. The colorwork part I knit on a US 6, that's a 4mm needle. And when I had that done, I changed down to a US 5. No, a 4, US 4, 3.5mm, because that would have been too loose for me. I didn't like the look of that. So yeah, I'm knitting that sweater. It's now my reading knitting project because, you know, it's black stockinette stitch. It's not the most exciting thing ever. But it's lots and lots of fun. I loved the colorwork part. I had done the lightning chart and that was it when I picked it back up. So in the last 2 weeks I finished the colorwork and I'm really happy with it. But like I said, I did a lot of math to make that outfit. But it worked out. For knitting in the future, I have nothing because I don't know. I'm going to talk about it in the end of the podcast and everything else. I just feel uninspired. I have no spinning, but I do have new stuff. And of course, I put a million things on top of that. So let's see if I can take it out. Yeah. Okay. I got new yarn. I'm not going to take it out of the bags. I ordered a Mix-A-Sit, get rid of it bag from Knitty & Color, where she sold unlabeled trial skeins or things that didn't work out the way she wanted to. And I got this one here, which is glitter. All of these are glittery. That in the middle is a very dark burgundy purple. And the other two just, these are all beautiful. I really, really enjoy these. And you did see what you got, you know, it wasn't a just surprise me. It was, I specifically picked that one. And I'm really happy with it. I know it glares, but it's pretty. And I also received my Hedgehog Fibers Potluck Club. I got into the Hedgehog Fibers Potluck Club again. And I'm really happy that I did, because this first shipment is just wow. So I got these 3 skeins. That top one, very much my colors, is their cashmere merino base. It is a lace weight. It's a 50-gram skein with 50% cashmere and 50% merino. Then this one here is a sock yarn, the twist sock, which is a BFL sock yarn, and the bottom is a mohair and silk. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. 3 totally different yarns and totally different colors and all beautiful. I love my Hedgehog Potluck Club. It just makes me happy. I also got books. I got Indian Magazine number 9, which is the newest that I had pre-ordered. I enjoy all the patterns in here, but if you have this magazine and you haven't seen that there is an updated and re-edited version of the designer spotlight for Lavagna Patriciella, I'm sorry, I really don't know how to say your name, but go and read the updated version that she re-edited to make it correct. I don't really know how to say it, but some things were not correct in here and some things were in here that shouldn't be in here. So please go to the Line magazine website and read the re-edited article that should have been in the magazine in the first place. And then I bought the new West Knits book because I love Stephen West. Or his patterns, because I don't know Stephen West. But I love his patterns. I'm really happy that I bought the book. I already want to knit 2 things. I've dug yarn out for those 2 things, but I just don't want to cast on anything right now. I don't know what's wrong. I'm gonna show you. So I have yarn picked out for Chrysler, which is this beautiful shawl here, and mine is going to be brown and reddish orange. And for the other yarn, the other one, where is it? It's back here somewhere. That's the one. The Westfjords Wanderer. That shawl. That's the other one I want to make. And I picked out orange and yellow for this. Lots of different yarns and textures in orange and yellow. So I'm going to knit these 2. This book is gorgeous. If you don't have it, you should buy it. It is really beautiful. There are 13 patterns in total, I think, and half of them are older patterns and half of them are completely new, and I love all of them. Beautiful, beautiful book. So that's the new stuff that I have. The probably biggest section this week is reading, listening, watching. I read 4 books since we talked and started another one. So the first thing I did, I finished, I'm gonna check my phone again for the screenshots of the covers. Oh God. So I finished Die zweite Chance, which is the second book in the Women's Murder Club series, James Patterson. And yeah, it was okay, but I wasn't too happy about it because it's a mystery. You know, it's a thriller. And I knew before we reached the halfway point of the book who the murderer was. Or I had a suspicion. And then it was basically the same story as the first book. They were so sure they had the correct one. And, you know, up until the last 20 pages, that was the murderer and everyone was after him. And then it turned out to not be the case. And it's the exact same makeup as book 1. And that just bugs me. And my friend told me that I should continue reading them because that will change and they will get better. But that just, I was really disappointed when I read this book. So then I needed something else because I didn't want to continue that series because I just didn't like the book, you know. So then I decided to read something fun. And I decided to read the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Ivanovic. And I had already read the first book in English years ago. And I do have the English books up until book 16 or so. But I'm very much into reading while I'm knitting right now. And for that, I use my Kindle because it's just the easiest way. And I do have the ebook version for 15 of those books as well, but they are in German, which I don't mind. I prefer reading the original, you know, if I can, if it's in English, because it's the only language I can speak except for German. But yeah, it was just convenient. I had those on my Kindle, so I'm reading those right now. And I read 3 of them. So the first one in Germany is called Einmal ist keinmal. The original title is One for the Money. And it is about Stephanie Plum, who is 30. And she recently lost her job and she got divorced and, you know, life's just shit. So she takes a job with her cousin who has a bail bond service. I don't know what that is because I don't think we have that here. So she becomes a bounty hunter. And she is the worst bounty hunter ever. And everything happens just out of coincidence. And her first case is to catch Joe Morelli, who she, you know, had a crush on since she was a small kid and lost her virginity to, and he's a cop and he is wanted for murder. So of course it takes half a day and she already found him, and hilarity ensues because she is very clumsy. A lot of things happen to her that never happened to anybody. And in the end, she always manages to catch the person she's after by sheer dumb luck. So, in the first book, she's after Joe Morelli, and I'm going to spoil something because otherwise I cannot talk about the other books. It turns out he didn't do it. And so they re-spark their romantic feelings for each other. But she's very clumsy and super weird, and a lot of shit happens to her. And he kind of tries to stay away, but can't. So that's the... There's also a guy in the book, he's called Ranger. He is a very experienced bounty hunter, and he helps Stephanie find her footing in the business. And also, he is like, he's described as being Superman, you know, the hottest guy ever, and mysterious and dark and just wonderful. So I'm pretty sure that he will have a role to play in the books as well. So then I read the second book, which is called Zweimal ist einmal zu viel. And I think the English title is Two for the Dough. And in that one, Stephanie is... What is she doing? I don't quite remember. I do remember that she is hired by a... what is the word? Undertaker business? Funeral home service thing for protection and for finding something that got stolen from them. And of course it entangles with her actual case of bounty hunting, and of course Joe is intertwining as a cop, and Ranger is back, and it's very hilarious. I don't know how to explain these books. They're super funny to read, and she's very relatable in a weird way, but in a good way. So then I read the third book, which is called 1, 2, 3 und du bist frei. And I have no idea what the English title is. But I read the third one. And I have to make sure to not mix things up because I'm on the fourth book already. And what was the third book about? Don't remember. I actually don't remember. Oh, yeah. She had to find a cousin of Joe's. Exactly, that was the book. She had to find a cousin of Joe's, and she also had a very interesting hair accident where she left some dye on for too long and her hair turned orange and she had to walk around like that. And so yeah, she had to find that cousin of the guy she's in love with. And she doesn't acknowledge that because she doesn't want to be weak, because Joe has the reputation of getting into everybody's pants because he's just irresistible. And she doesn't want to give him that power over her, which of course doesn't work out. So I'm reading the fourth book right now, which is called Alle guten Dinge sind vier. It's that one. And I'm almost done. I have like 60 pages left. So she has not yet gotten who she's after. She's after a woman for the first time. And that woman is doing like kind of a treasure hunt with her ex, who made her become wanted in the first place because she was driving around with his car and he reported it as stolen, and that got his ex-girlfriend into trouble. And now she's doing this kind of treasure hunt with him. And of course it's intertwining again with the case that Joe is working on. And also some weirdo thinks that Stephanie has a relationship or an affair with their boyfriend. So she thinks that it is someone who has something to do with Joe because, you know, of his reputation. And he said it's not not him. He's not the problem. But that someone kind of manages to blow up her car and her apartment. So she moves in with Joe, and all his family start to think that they're going to get married and that she's pregnant. Which is also very hilarious. And yeah, like I said, I have like 60 pages left in that book. I'm going to finish it today, so I can talk about it more next time. And yeah, that's what I've been reading. You know, I've read a lot. I didn't watch anything. I started to watch one Marvel movie, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, one of my favorites because it's Chris Evans. And I didn't even watch half of it before I lost interest in watching anything, which is weird. So weird. But yeah, I don't feel like watching anything. All I want to do is read. So I do. The other thing I have for reading, listening, watching is listening. I finished The Two Towers, which is the second book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. And if you have never heard of that, something's wrong, because that is just, you know, the book everybody knows about. And yeah, I finished the second book, and I'm reluctant to start the third one because it is very long. And it's always been my least favorite. But I think I will do it. I'll listen to it while I sew. Which brings me to sewing. Nice segue there. Okay, up until yesterday, I had nothing to show for sewing. But yesterday, I really wanted to sew, and I did. So I came downstairs to my room, and I decided, okay, let's do this. I sat down. I put a chair up for Tim with his little kid sewing machine. That's just a toy. And he started to sew, and I just couldn't decide what to do because I have a new sewing magazine that I got in the mail, and it has like 6 patterns in it that I love and want to make. And for 5 of those, I found the perfect fabric in my stash. But starting something new also means a lot of measuring, making sure it will fit in the end, a lot of anxiety on my part because I'm always afraid that I will screw things up and it will not fit in the end. So yeah, I didn't start anything new. What I did instead, I made a sweater for my son and a t-shirt for my husband using patterns I've used before. So I knew that they would work. I'm going to show you the t-shirt first. No, the sweater for my son. Now, here we go. And this is it. This is made using the Frankenprinz pattern, which is a free pattern from a German pattern maker. And this is what it looks like. I used this really cute geometric hipster bear fabric and the brown stripes. And right now he has the largest size I can make using 1/2 meter of fabric. So the next size I need 60 centimeters of fabric, and I cannot use the 50 centimeter pre-cut things that you can get at the fabric market. So I made this super easy, really nice. I like how it turned out. And then I made a t-shirt for my husband, or a sleep shirt. And I used this pattern. It's New Look 6321. And I made that one here, UA. I've made that one before, so I know it would fit. And I used fabric that I bought specifically for my husband. And it is Tom and Jerry. It is this one here. I like this fabric a lot. It is really cute. And I used this gray for the sleeves. So this is what it looks like. It fits perfectly. My problem was that is a total fabric thing. So I put the whole thing together on the overlocker, and then I did the zigzag around the top to secure the seam allowances on the inside, so you know it will just lay flat. And then I hemmed everything with the zigzag stitch because that is my favorite way of doing things. I'm not a big fan of the twin needle because, you know, there's always a problem with that. So I did this one here, and as you can see, it's perfect zigzag, no problems whatsoever. And then I did the sleeves, and that's the better one. Let me show you the bad one. Can you see all the skipped stitches? where it just goes straight. And I thought to myself, what is wrong? I do have in good quality thread, which is usually the problem. And I have in good quality needles, and it worked wonderful for the top. So what is going on here? And then I thought to myself, okay, you know what? Just try it at the bottom. And if that is also a problem now, something's off. And then I did the bottom, and I'm not sure, but can you see? No skipped stitches. It's perfect. There is nothing wrong with this. So my machine did not like this fabric. It is a very thick kind of jersey. It's a very weird, thick fabric. And my machine decided to not like it and just skipped stitches. So yeah, not too happy about that, but I'm not going to change it because it will just skip again, because it is, the problem is the fabric. It's not the thread, it's not the needle, because on the Tom and Jerry fabric, it was not a problem. So yeah, I made that sleep shirt for my husband. And I'm going to make more of these. I'm going to go to the fabric market on Sunday and get fabric for my husband to make more. And the other thing I also made 2 pillows. And I made those using a coupon, fabric coupon, which had, you know, all the lines that you have to cut out on it. A friend of mine has a little daughter, and she loves Bibi und Tina, which is a German comic story book, whatever, about a little witch called Bibi Blocksberg and her friend Tina, and they love horses. And yeah, so I bought this coupon and made these 2 pillows, and it had all the, you know, the lines on it. It is jersey fabric. It's very soft. And it also, for the backing, had all the lines printed on. You just had to cut it out and put it together. And I used a normal sewing machine with an overlocking stitch because of the curves. You know, I couldn't do this on the overlocker. So yeah, then I just filled them and sewn them shut by hand. And this is what they look like. They are quite big. But yeah, they are a gift for a friend's daughter. And I will deliver them to her today. So I really hope she will like them. They were kind of fun to make, actually. For the stuffing of these, I used, like I always do, an IKEA pillow, because buying fiber filling stuff, it's very expensive here. But the IKEA pillow, it's gigantic, and you can cut it open easily, and the filling is washable, and it's super cheap. So I go for these. And the other thing for sewing, I brought her here. So this is Mary. She's my dress form. And I Tracyfied her. So what I did, I wanted to do this forever, ever since I got her. The problem is I am an off shape. My hips are too big for the small size dress form, and my bust is too small for the large one. So I bought a small one because, you know, you can always pad, but you can't take away. So what I did, I put on an old bra of mine and filled it with tissue paper, like in high school. And then I padded her with quilt batting. And I built a tummy out of more tissue paper, which was very, what's the word? It's not nice. Having to rebuild your own tummy out of tissue paper and adhesive tape, not fun. But I did that to, you know, so she would have my shape, because I have wider hips than my dress form. And also the tummy, you know, that doesn't come with a dress form. The only problem is, and a lot of people said, oh, you made her way bigger than you. I didn't. The problem is I have a very hollow back, so she should be like that. And she's not, because, you know, I can't carve her out like that. The measurements are the exact same. She has the exact same measurements as I do. So that's the important bit. And to dress her, I used this old tank top of mine, and I added this stretch lace at the bottom that I wouldn't have needed to cover it, but I wanted to cover it longer, so the padding would be protected underneath, you know. I wouldn't be able to change anything about that. So yeah, my dress form now has the same body shape as I do. Not exactly, because, you know, the hollow back I just can't change, but the measurements are exact, which means that everything that will fit her now will fit me, and I don't have to worry about thinking about adding more here because it's now there. You know, I have built it in. I have built in my tummy and it's perfect now. So I'm really happy with that. It did make me feel bad about myself for a day because I looked at my dress form and was like, oh, fuck, this is what I look like. Shit. But now I'm like, yeah, you know, it's what it is. I'm not going to change that. So that is that. Now I'm on to everything else. The next VKN is on the 12th of October. That is next week, Saturday. And it's at 9 p.m. Berlin time, like always. I will put up the link in the Ravelry group. You just click the link and you are in. That's all you have to do. And you need the Zoom app. It's a free app for all devices. And you can also use it just on your computer. So that's that. Then, talking about Zoom. I had an idea about using Zoom for doing classes, and I have talked all about that in my last video, which is called the PassioKnit Spinner Fiber School announcement. And please go and check that out. It's like 10 minutes. And also, please go and do the survey that I put up as a Google Doc, which I'm very proud of being able to have made that. And it will help me determine what I want to do. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about it more. Just please go and watch that video. And now, the last thing. I said I didn't have anything for knitting in the future because I didn't feel it. And I feel very I feel uncreative and unproductive right now. I know I get a lot of things done, and you know, with the sewing yesterday, I made 4 things yesterday and I still felt like a failure and like I couldn't get anything done. And I feel very uncreative and uninspired to start new things, especially when it comes to knitting. And it just feels so weird. I don't want to start anything. I'm working on things that I have on my needles already. And when I have finished those 2, you know, there's more. Of course there's more. I have like 30 started things that I can work on. But I think I haven't gone this long without starting a new project in years. And it feels so weird. And it doesn't make me feel good, you know. I feel uncreative and unproductive, and it's probably the worst time I could have chosen to start my fiber school idea. But I kind of need a way out of this, you know. I feel so I don't know how to describe it. And I do have a theory why I do feel like that, but I just don't know. It's weird. I wanted to start so many things, you know. I have so much stuff put together, yarn and pattern and everything, and I will probably start something new tomorrow because I joined a knit along that starts tomorrow, and I usually don't do knit alongs, but that one is actually for something I wanted to do forever. So I have the yarn and everything ready, but right now I just don't feel like starting anything. I don't know what's wrong. It's weird and it makes me feel so, like I said, uncreative, unproductive. Even though I do get things done, I'm afraid to start new stuff. And not only with knitting, also with the sewing, you know. Like I said, I have this new pattern magazine that's full of things that I want to have. And I have the fabric for it, and I just need to start, but I can't bring myself to start something new because I'm afraid of failure somehow. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. It feels weird. I wanted to stop. I don't know. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I feel just weird. Have you ever had something like that? What did you do to get out of it? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to stop because this is not going any better. I hope you will check out my fiber school idea, and I hope you all have a wonderful time. I will hopefully be back within the next 2 weeks. We will see. And until then, enjoy everything you do. Bye.